Hello, hello, and welcome to Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guide, Zollin Ironshield. On today's guide video, an advanced guide, here for legendary items. We are going to deep dive into setting up your entire legendary items setup. Now, I have a Valar character here, but I'm going to walk you through like you're brand new and you just hit level 45. If this is a good refresher course for you, or if you're someone who's brand new to the game, this should still help you. And I will be covering it where you can have a critical thinking on how to set up your legendary items, even if you are not a hunter, as here I will explain as we go through the legendary items. I'll make sure that it'll help everyone. In the future, I may have some little separate videos that'll like what are the best legacies, but before you freak out, we're going to go over all that in this video. All right, so that's what we're going to do here today. If I do help you out, a like and subscribe would be great, or a comment if you have a question, I missed something you think. You're welcome to ask a question too, but watch it through because I'm going to be pretty comprehensive review here of legendary items for you today. I've been promising one of these videos here on the channel. I have a couple in the past, but this is going to be the best and most comprehensive one I've done on the channel so far. So today, my friends, and this is the year 2025, and we just had some great expansions, but we are going to be covering first, when do you get legendary items? You get them at level 45. Technically, the quest line starts at 50. But you could start at level 45 and get your legendary items. Legendary items are extremely important in the Lord of the Rings Online. They're something you must know about. They are something you definitely want to do and not just keep a generic item, because it is it's like between 30 to 50% of your stats most of the time, sometimes, especially more towards endgame. They're very, very important. So with that said, we're going to go through all that right now. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about real quick, and I'm just going to show you here on the map, all right? Well, look, someone's walking by here in our kinship. First thing I want to show you is where do you actually start legendary items, all right? So you're actually going to go over, it's going to be at the Holland Gate in front of Moria. So technically that is in Aragian or Region, people say it differently, right here, and there's a little spot right here, Enchad Dunan. Okay, there's an NPC that stands right in front of this little elven arch that enters into the walls of Moria. So he's standing like right here, right in the front before you go into this area. And he will give you the first quest. I believe it's a dwarf, but I will link the Wikipedia article down there if you want those details on that. But he is right there, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to go talk to him, and he will start you a quest, which is called, I believe, Strangers in Holland. One of my leaders, it's been a long time since I've picked up the quest. Strangers in Holland, again, I'll have it there in the article. And it basically opens you up for finishing and getting the deed, Seeker... make sure I'm saying it right, Seeker of Deep Places. Now, if you use a Valor boost, you automatically get that. They give you the convenience of finishing that for you. But you have to have that to start your legendary items. Then, at that point, all right, you could be level 45. That's when you can start legendary items. You're going to go to Rivendell, and I'm going to show you how to get there. I will have some timestamps down there for those of you who are like, I just want to see you set the legendary item up. You can jump there right now. That's totally fine. But this is for the brand new players. This is a full comprehensive guide. So go to any stable master. You can go to Southern Bree, whatever. I'm going to use my stable master at my kinship house, but you can go to any stable master and get to Rivendell. Now, if you don't know Rivendell yet, usually I think most accounts automatically can just swift travel to Rivendell because of the legendary items. I think the minimum level to get there is level 20. But you could just get to Rivendell, all right? And you're going to go to Rivendell, and once you get there, you're going to go over to the last homely house, okay? I'm going to show you, and now there's actually technically another horse thing, so I'm actually just going to use the other horse thing. It'll jump us across the valley real quick. I just like to type Rivendell. There we go, last homely house. So I'm not sure you'll have that teleport if you're a brand new character, but you can just walk across the valley. It's just like, what? And there you're there, okay? I'm just teleporting halfway there. All right, so now that we're here, I'm going to show you exactly where to go in there, and then I'm going to walk you through everything like you're a brand new character getting a brand new legendary item, all right? And again, I'm going to show you critical thinking on how to do it yourself in case you're on a different class, because there are many classes in this game. But pretty much they all work the same in the generic gist, which is what we're going to cover today. So go into the last homely house, and then the reason I'm showing you every step here is so no one gets lost. And then you're going to walk in and go up the left staircase, all right? It's not on the first floor. It's on the second floor. So we walk up here, and then you're going to do immediate left. All right, you're not going to go up those stairs. Don't go up those stairs, all right? And then you're going to go to this door right here. And it's called see how it says it's minimum level 1, -1, and it requires Seeker of Deep Places. That's why I already told you about how to get that, okay? You'll have to do that and finish those quests to get that deed completed. Then you'll be able to come into here, all right? And now we are in the archives here of Rivendell. This is where you're going to start your legendary weapon, all right? Both of them. Now, one thing we need to talk about real quick, there's a few things we have to cover, is that the legendary weapons, every class has 2, all right? So, and they're not necessarily weapons, both of them. Usually for hunters, it's a one-handed weapon and a bow or a crossbow. That's what the hunters get. Every class has a different one. I'm going to show you right now by talking to the person. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is you're coming over here to this nice lady, the legendary weapons class item. She doesn't have a name. I don't know. She's Elessra. Yeah, that's her name. Okay, perfect. All right. Now go ahead and you can go to Barter item or item reforger. Don't do item reforger. You're not at that point yet. Okay. You're going to say barter items. Now what you're going to need is ancient script. Now I need to explain this real quick because you might not have ancient script. All right. You might be a brand new player, you just hit level 45 and you come here, you really don't have much ancient script. All right, so ancient script can be found in a few ways. If you're a returning player, this is a little side note, okay? You go into here, this is not for a brand new player, okay? This is a returning player, meaning you have legendary items from a long time ago. You need to go into here and go to this old rewards legendary items icon, okay? And you'll have this, where it's going to show you a bunch of legendary items. I still kept my old ones on this character, kind of to just show you. But there's actually a button down here in the bottom right, usually. I think it's the bottom right is where it shows up. It's not here anymore for me. And it says, like, Appraise, or there's a certain word it uses, okay? I don't remember it right now, but you'll see it. And what happens is it'll give you the worth of that old legendary item as ancient script. Another thing you need to keep track of is if you click C, and you go to your wallet down here at the bottom, and if we go in here and you can just type ancient script or you can find it in the stuff. There's ancient script for me. It's under item advancement. Sorry. Yeah, advancement. This, you have to keep in mind, this cannot go over 10,000 ancient script. Now, one exception for that is I noticed when you appraise your legendary items, at least for me in the deck in the day, it let me go over the cap when I appraised all of them. I had like 45,000. Okay, 45,000 out of 10,000. It was really kind of weird. But you can't get more. But you have to keep in mind that if you open a box that gives you ancient script or anything like that, it will just if it's maxed already, it'll basically tell you can't open it. But if you, like, let's say you needed 200 to be at max and you get a box that gives you 600 ancient script, you'll open it and 400 will just be gone. That's usually the case with most other things. I don't know why there's some exceptions to that rule with the ancient script. They did that. I don't know. But just my point is keep your eye on the ancient script cap that it's 10,000. All right, that's the point of this. But again, for returning players, don't forget to appraise your items. Do not just throw them away. Don't just like destroy your old legendary items. Make sure you go in here and you click the appraise button and you get that stuff back if you're a returning player from like 5-6 years ago. All right. But again, back to new players. Now we're going to go back to the new player thought here. Okay. So once you have some ancient script, which, by the way, for those new players, the way you're going to get ancient script, all right, open up this tab down here again. I believe the control is, excuse me, I was close. The item reward track, Shift I, you can also open it with. It has the exact same symbol as the legendary item button. So this one is old now. If you're a new player, this will be empty for you, okay? If you're a returning player, you'll have to go into Appraise to get some ancient script back. But as a regular player, for everybody else, brand new, go to this one, or Shift I for legendary item, okay? Reward track, and you bring this up. This is how you're going to get a lot of your ancient script early on for you to come spend here at Legendary Things. So when you start going through Moria, you're at doing certain instances, you're going to start getting these blue rune XP items, all right? And again, I'll have the link to the wiki down there. You can look at the details on it. But you're going to be seeing these blue rune experience, and they'll say, we'll give 20,000 towards your item reward track. It'll say that on the item when you hover it. It's a little blue looking icon that's kind of like a grayish rune rock in a bluish background icon. So you click that, and it's going to give you XP towards these. As you get XP, you're going to click claim. All right, see, I already have some XP towards these. Another good way you can get XP towards this track is by doing like tasks. Some quests give it, but mostly it's like task turn-ins. So I have a guide on tasks if you need it, but if you're a new player, but make sure you keep those items that say you can turn in for tasks. Usually they're like a bird's wing or like a skin of a wolf or things like that. Those are important for this. I'm going to go ahead and click claim here. And then what happens is I get a little box in my inventory for this particular thing. And it's going to do that. You'll see boxes will just keep showing up in your inventory as you claim these. I have a video on this reward tracking detail. You can go watch it. I just put it out the other day. But there you go. We've got these little boxes, right? We got a couple different rewards here, which is perfect. I'm going to use these examples in a minute. But let's just start with the one that says Ancient Script. This one says it'll give me 200 Ancient Script. So you just right click it and boom, it's in your inventory. I already knew my max Ancient Script was not over 10,000, so I know I could open it. All right. So anyway, that's cool. So now you got Ancient Script. All right. I know we're 11 minutes in, but this is a very comprehensive video. I'm trying not to miss anything. Now you got to choose your weapon. All right. So again, you come over to this nice lady. I already forgot her name that I made up for her. Barter items. So I'm going to leave it in the comments. We are going to get a hunter weapon. So you can go to the filter here, and you can actually go through and filter what class you are. All right. So, and also scrolls and enhancements and stuff like that. You can get some other things here. You can actually get a teleport map of one-time use to the thing. Kind of a waste of your stuff. You can technically use Ancient Script to get your enhancement runes. I'd also tell you not to do this. Later when you're doing instances, you'll get lots of these. You can also get them in certain dailies. I have a quest on the proto quests. I'm going to link those in the description for you if you need them. But don't waste that on that, okay? Don't use this. You're going to get your weapon. So for me as a hunter, I'm actually going to show you how to do it. I'm going to get a brand new weapon. So as a dwarf, I know my racial bonus gives me a little bit of bonus damage to axes. So I'll probably pick a battle axe, right? But it has to be these are my options as a hunter. In theory, if I could pick any of the one-handed melee weapons. You just hover them. In fact, let me move where this examiner, I'm going to put it like right in the middle so you guys can see it better. So the one on the far left is the one I'm looking at right here as I hover its icon. So I could get this one. It's a one-handed mace. It says in the description there. Sorry, I can't. I'll read it because it's kind of small. We also have the spear. That's another one I could use, right? I could use any of these. One-handed hammer. And you can always hold control and left click and look what they look like if you want to kind of look at them, right? Here we go. There's the hammer. It's a real small little hammer. There's the mace, right? There's a cool spear. I'll zoom out for the spear. But again, remember, cosmetically, if you have a cosmetic spear, you could use, an actual spear legendary, you can use a cosmetic of a different spear. If you have a battle axe, you could use a cosmetic battle axe of a different one. So that's just a fun little side note for making your character look cool with the cosmetic system. But again, as a dwarf, I know I get a bonus with axes. So I'm going to buy Hunter's Axe of Legends. It's a one-handed axe. So I'm going to say barter. All right, that's going to go into my inventory. Here it is. All right, I'm going to keep it separate so you can see what I just got. Now I want to get a bow or a crossbow. Doesn't matter which one. It's preference on what you think is cooler. So if I hover this bow, you can see that compared to the one I have, so they start lower level, basically right when you could buy them, item level 51. And I could do the hunter's bow, and I can kind of look what it looks like on my back. It's pretty cool. It's got some it's got some little points on there. It's fine. Or I could get the hunter's crossbow, right? And again, it kind of has like a ram's head on it. That's kind of cool. Or an elk or something. But, you could choose, you could always do a cosmetic crossbow or cosmetic bow to make it look different, right? Keep that in mind for cosmetics. But for me, I like the animation of the crossbow for a dwarf. I don't know, it just looks cool. So I'm going to go ahead and use the crossbow. So I'm going to barter for the crossbow, all right? So now I have 2 new legendary items. Now, technically, I have 2 on right now, so I'm going to take those off and ignore these 2. All right, we're going to be working with these 2 today. We're going to pretend like we're a brand new character. I also technically have legendary boxes of items for from Valor boosts, but we're going to step by step doing this like you're a brand new player and you didn't buy a Valor boost and you're just level 45. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get these 2 new ones, and you can go ahead and just equip them. That's fine early on here. All right, so there you go. We have our new battle axe, which is very fancy, actually. I really like the battle axe. Gosh, it's got like 2 horses on it. Whoa, that's cool. And then there's the one. So that's the generic look of these 2 items. Pretty cool. Now that glowing effect, that is not the item. That is, I have a glowing skin on. So I'm just going to take it off so I don't give you guys false. There's the effects. Okay, so the legendary items do have some effects on them, which is pretty cool, actually, if you don't have a, you know, aura skin, as they're called. So cool. So now let's hover these items real quick here. The first thing you're going to need to realize is that depending on your level, you're going to have to reforge the items. I'm going to explain what that does. But here is how the best way to start working on your legendary items. When they're hooked, when they're on you, or from your inventory, you can do either way. You need to hold left click, drag it, and drop it on this little thing that's like a little fiery essence slot, okay? Same thing you do to remove an essence for your gear. Boop. And this is going to come up. Legendary item. This bottom right spot, you can grab and drag down to make it larger. This is what you're going to see as a brand new player. All right. Your battle axe is going to say minimum level 45 because that's when you can start the level 45 deed and get a legendary weapon. Your damage output is going to be there, and you're going to have 2 words of mastery and a word of craft. All right. And again, I will explain this as we go through the thing. But what happens is as you level up, you're going to have to reforge it. All right. And as you reforge it, it's going to do several things. You're going to get more and more things here. You'll end up getting a heraldry, it's called, as at the top. You're going to have all your words of mastery, and then you're going to have 2 word of craft at the bottom. All right. Keep that in mind. That'll be on both legendary items. So again, if I want to look at my new bow, I can drag and drop. It'll replace what's not. It's showing me, and now I can see the hunter's spell level 45, same thing. Okay. But right now, it's real early. We have like, this is basic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to level them up and then set them up like a level 150. But just keep in mind, if you're level 45, all you're going to have to do is the first 3. But the reason I'm showing you level 150, okay, as a new player, is that you'll be able to kind of know the future on what you should plan for as you level up. Because in reality, there's a couple things that I would recommend not doing as you level up. And here's what I'll talk about. You see these numbers right here on the right? Remember those enhancement runes I told you get in instances? You could buy from her, right? Excuse me, the barter one. And we go into filters and it's down here. And they kind of look like this. All right. These are different level enhancement runes based on when your reforge was for your weapon. Let me explain this very carefully. This isn't super important, but it is also very important. Okay. As you level up, so level 45, at level 50, you're going to be able to reforge it once. It's going to give you another word of power, something like that. It might give you your heraldry. I don't remember exactly which one, but you'll see it when you do it. And basically, you would need enhancement runes that say the plus here, the 1, 2, 3, or 4. That just means how many levels it gives towards this thing on the right. So they start off having 45 levels out of 51. Okay. Every time you reforge them, I'm pretty sure the baseline gets jumped up automatically. All right, and I'm going to prove that to you in a second here. All right, but my point is I would not waste your time too much using the enhancement runes to get these levels up to the max level on the right as you're leveling. You really are only going to want to care about that once you hit max level. That's when you want to make sure they're all bumped up to the top level of strength. And I'll explain all that here in the video, okay, as we go. But again, you do not want to waste buying these with your ancient script. You will be so surprised how fast ancient script disappears, okay? You know, I said I had 45,000 when I did my things. That only helped me make like 2 or 3 sets of legendary items for a few characters. It goes away quick. So don't waste it on this. You'll earn these max level ones. So level 141 are for the highest stuff. You'll earn these in instances all the time. And there will be slightly different colors of this. So since we're talking on it, let me just real quick show you that. Oh, actually, I can't. I forgot this is a Malta account. But there will be different. Oh, here we go. I have them right here. Look at this. I was all prepared. There's a blue one right here. You can see, again, it's a blue and it says +3. That means it gives 3 levels to this max number here, whatever that'll be. The gold one +4. And then I believe there's a purple one, which I don't have here, which is a +2 levels. But the thing that's important to remember is that other thing past the plus, where it says level 140 or level 50, 86, 101, 106, 112. That's your character level, okay? And that's when you can reforge. So they can only be used once the item has been reforged. Not when your character hits that level, when the item's been reforged. Okay? You got it? Good, good. And another thing, the last thing to keep in mind with these enhancement runes, which are going to be important in a minute, is that it says, see where it says enhancement level, enhancement limit? It's the green number there while I hover this item. You see that? Where it says that? That means that it can only enhance up to level 449 on the right of your weapon, of your things right here, okay? That's how we're starting with this. This is important to think about critically. So as you can see here, this one, the top one, says it can enhance all the way up to 549. Keep that in mind. So now with that in mind, we're going to reforge the weapon. All right, so whenever you reforge a weapon, you just need to go to any reforger, but she has one too as an option. Also, if you're VIP, I believe you get this as an option in your VIP. Yeah, see, there it is. VIP, you get the services around the world. You got one right there. Item reforger. Now, this is going to cost money to reforge your items. All right. This is where you can do a couple different things. You can name your item. Now, here's what I would recommend. I would recommend naming your item whatever trait tree you're using. Okay. Now, I have a separate video where I talk about traits and stuff in your trait panel. Now, today I'm going to be setting up my character to be a red line hunter. Okay, that's going to be my goal for these legendary items because that's the more common one. By the way, this video will still be just as relevant with how to critically think and set up your legendary if they've done the hunter update, which they're planning on doing pretty soon. But this video is going to help any class. That's the goal. So now basically I need to reforge. This is the same way you do it with any class. These arrows will go between reforges to do. Okay. Now you'll notice that it costs 20 gold. Good thing I have 71 because I'm going to just do 2 today. All right. Now I do want to be careful not to reforge the wrong one. These are already reforged, I believe, so I don't have to worry about that. So pretty much I've got these 2. And I want to rename them. As you can see here, I already have these renamed as Red Hunter. So, maybe we'll just use... Maybe I'll set up as a Blue Hunter for these. Because it'd be kind of a waste to do that to 2 different legendaries for me. So tell you what. I'm going to change that just a little bit. I'm going to set up as a... or maybe a Trapper of Foes. That'd be kind of cool to see what that is. See what that does. I think I'll try to set up as kind of a Blue Hunter. So I'll just like use a blue tree. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's go ahead and just type in whatever your class is. Are you going to be a red Runekeeper? You're doing a fire Runekeeper or a healing Runekeeper? Or are you doing a yellow lightning Runekeeper? Or are you doing a tank guardian? Are you doing a DPS guardian? Are you doing a trickster burglar? Are you doing a red damage burglar? Are you doing a minstrel in red damage? Are you doing a minstrel in full heal and support? Are you doing a lore master in red line, a lore master in yellow line, a lore master in your blue line, right? These are the things you're going to think about whatever class you are. Again, I can go on for every single class like that. I think you get the gist. Even if you're a new player, I think you get it now. So I'm going to set this up as a Blue Hunter. You could just name the weapon and remember that it's your blue line. You could be like the Killer of Orcs or whatever you want to name it. But I'm just going to say Blue Hunter because... that'll be better for me to remember. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. You can also click Use Default Name and just use the Hunter Axe of the Legends. That's confusing for me. I like to have it named. So Blue Hunter, Reforge. All right. Now you'll notice I immediately reforged it and it popped. Since I'm level 150, it reforged it all the way to the max it could. And it says all Tracer slots can be upgraded to level 530 now. And 8 new slots have been added. Let me, before I reforge the next one, show you what I mean. Remember what we looked at a minute ago? Now you've got all these options. Now again, as a new player, when you hit level 45, as you hit those thresholds of levels, you're going to slowly but surely, have to set that up, right, as you go. And as you can see here, it actually does start the level down at 45 still. So that's why I kept mine, because these are already popped up a little higher. Actually, you know what? Excuse me. I think that pops up automatically when you drop your tracers. So hold on to that thought for just a moment. I don't want to confuse you. So as you can see here, the thing on the right is now level 530. If you look at the enhancement runes I told you to keep your mind on for a second, you see how the enhancement limit is 549? So again, the reason it's an odd number is because they're thinking about the future. If there's an expansion, you go to the next level. right? Past 150, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. I hope. But I'll make guides then if you need it. So keep that in mind, but there's the right side now is all enhanced to level 530. I believe when I drop the tracer, it has a minimum starting, so this 45 will automatically pop up to whatever the limit of that tracer is. But I'll explain that in a moment. So now I'm going to go ahead and reforge the hunter's bow. So I'm going to, again, just say blue hunter. All right, 20 gold. It's just pretty pricey. There we go. Again, 9 slots was added to this one, and it's now 530. Right, interestingly enough, there's more slots on the hunter's main weapon, legendary weapon. I actually didn't realize that. That might be the case with all the different things. You know, one thing I forgot to say, and I should just go by in passing, is that when you go through, you can actually see, like, Guardians, they have a weapon, and then they have a belt. That's their secondary item. But then you have all your choices if you're single and duo and two-handed weapons. But they get a belt. And you can go through and see that on everybody. A Bjorning gets a weapon, and they get this cool carving they put in their little slot here. It's one of these slots that it goes in. I think it goes in where the bow slot would go for me. And same thing like a champion. They get a weapon, and they get a cool champion's rune that they hold. It's really irrelevant what the next one is. It's kind of just there for, unless the weapon is there, okay? Lore Master, they get a staff, and they get a lore book, all right? Now you get the point. And there is one other thing that's really important to remember about reforging, okay? This is really important. Reforging increases your actual damage output. For a mage class, your staff or your runestone or your instrument, if you're a minstrel, runekeeper, or lore master, they all increase your tactical damage slightly. So reforging is extremely important. If you feel extremely weak as you're leveling, let's say you're like level 130 or something, you might need to come back here and make sure you have reforged your stuff. Because again, remember, there's these different reforge caps. And if you're level 130 and you haven't reforged since level 106, your weapons are going to be really weak and your damage is going to feel awful. Okay, so that's why reforging is important to remember and check at these different levels. And I believe the reforge level is close to these numbers. I don't think it's exact because these are over it a little bit. Remember how or actually maybe they're a little bit under it because 140 the minimum. So I'm trying to think. Actually, no, the first reforge is around there. I think that's pretty close. I'll have the wiki link there for the details on the exact numbers for you. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and talk about now the legendary items. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back on here. And I want to do some work. I want to start setting up the legendary item now. We're at the point where we have legendary items. You've reforged if you had to reforge, but now you need to set up. All right. Where do you go to get all these? This whole room. All right. So let me turn on floating names with N. That helps a little bit. And if you look around the room, you can see these different named things. Okay. You have your captain, brawler, guardian, champion, lore master, runekeeper, hunter, mariner, bjorning, warden, burglar, minstrel, and then those are all your race. Class tracers. Okay, they're called tracers, and then there's 2 other things on your weapon. There's a herald, which I showed you a second ago. And there is also, actually, I think there's a 4th thing. Excuse me. I think there's a 4th thing. You have Word of Power. I forgot that gets added later as well. We'll say that right now. So you got Heraldry, you got your Words of Power, and you got your Word of Craft. Those are your abilities. All right. The Word of Masteries are all the ones for your class abilities. They help your actual class. The Word of Power have a certain, I'll show you in a minute. They just help you with buffs usually, and Word of Craft usually gives you some special kind of like extra healing, extra crit, extra this or that. I'll walk you through and show you all that. And your Heraldry is cool too. There is something I'm going to talk about in a moment that's very important to remember with that too. But as you can see here, you have Word of Power, you have your Word of Craft, and you have your Heraldries. Okay, so that's where they all are. That's how you can start. Now, technically, as you're doing instances and raids, you're going to get better options to these. And you're going to get things that are the barter items. Now, I'm going to have to talk from an end game perspective here for a moment. Because early on, as a new character, you're just going to buy what you can buy. All right, and you're going to move on. So let's talk about heraldries first. We'll start, since this is at the top. We'll talk about heraldries. It doesn't. This is where you have to think critically as your class. All right, and you'll need to know your stats that your class is. Excuse me, by stats, I mean what is your primary stat that you want the most of. All right, so you can do that by going to character with C and looking at your stats over here. You can always click show advanced stats if you want to show more details at the top there. But pretty much for a hunter, I want agility. Okay, I'm an agility based class. Burglars are an agility based class. Guardians and champions are might based class. I think so are Bjornings. Everyone wants vitality. Just throwing that out there. Everybody's gonna want vitality. Your minstrel is a will based class. Pretty much all the mages are. Lore master, rune keeper, they want a lot of will. Fate you just do not want as a stat in the game at all right now. It just gives you max power and it's really kind of irrelevant. You really want the other stats. You can hover them all to see what they do for you, and also, you know, how much they give and contribute. A way to actually know, just as a little side note, so this is important for you to critically think, is that when you hover the stat and it gives you this information, if you see I have 24,000 of it, and if you look at the contribute numbers underneath, the real small white ones, just to the left of points, says points to whatever the gold. If you notice points to physical mastery rating, it says I get 72,000. Well, that's double, or actually, excuse me, that is that's triple, isn't it? Almost triple. It's not always exact. So you know, oh, agility really helps physical mastery rating, which is your physical damage with a bow or an axe. So again, you want that. And you can read through it, right? And what you get. And also my evade rating is doubled, 48,000 for just 24,000 points of it. And it shows right there my parry rating is just the same. So I get 24,000 parry ratings towards parry. And you can go down here and read what parry rating does for you and stuff like that. So again, I want agility. All right. And again, I'll have separate videos talking about what every class wants with stats and stuff like that. But again, critically thinking, those are the things you have to keep in mind, right? I'm trying to remember. I think wardens are agility as well, off the top of my head, but I don't. Take that with a grain of salt. The wiki link, I'll link down there for details on that if you want to double check me. But pretty much, a lot of the classes are either might based. A lot of the physical classes are might based. A lot of the mage classes are will based, and a lot of the more damagey classes like hunters and burglars, and again I believe wardens and things like that can do a lot of massive damage. Wardens also can tank, but they're kind of a weird throw up class. They can do lots of different things. But those are they usually want agility. So again, keeping that all in mind, all right, with the different classes. Brawlers I believe are also might too, and I'm trying to think with mariners. I think mariners are agility, the new class. I'm pretty sure they're agility as well. Again, I'll link that in the description for you. I don't want to say something wrong to you without, just blindly believing it. I'm trying to make sure I don't say any mistakes in this video. I want to be very helpful for you guys. So, Heralds of Tracers, these are what you're going to need to get. So now, if you're a brand new character and you're level 45, let's go back to the basics again here for a second. You're going to go through here and you're going to want to choose this. This is really important. You guys ready for this next part? This is so important. Whatever 2 legendary items you have equipped, you can only have duplicates of the same one for heraldry, or sorry, I'm not saying heraldry. It's heraldic tracer. It's just weird how they say that. It's heraldic. I don't know why I'm saying heraldry. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Whatever. You guys get the point. It's the top one. So that one you can have duplicates on the top, and the words of craft can be duplicated between your legendary items. All right, this is so important. All right, so if I bring up my other legendary, my 2 word of craft and my heraldic can be the same on both legendary items equipped. The other ones can't. Okay, I'll explain that again in a minute with more detail once we get to them, but just please keep that in mind. If you buy 4 word of power that are all the same and put it on your 2 legendary items, they won't be able to equip at the same time. It'll tell you error, you can't equip. So that's something important to keep in mind. But let's just go ahead and start with this. Bring down the top down filter. If you are level 45 or 50, you're going to be using the top 4. Now you have 4 different colors and kinds. This will be the same for all of the Heraldic, Word of Power, Word of Masteries, and Word of Craft, okay? There will be this lightish yellow looking one. These are the weakest, but they're the cheapest. And sometimes it's not worth getting them right when you're setting up. Sometimes you want to go straight for the rare page. These are the purplish ones. They just use 600. They are far more expensive, but they are better. So what we want to do today is I'm going to drop it down all the way to the bottom. And you'll notice that there are 4 pages for the Heraldrics for each grouping. All right, so I was showing you the level 50. So if you notice, the next one would be this one, and you need Khazad-dûm, these symbols that you get in Khazad-dûm. Now, again, remember, you're going to level right past Moria at this point in the game. So kind of a waste of your time to be getting these and doing that, unless you just really want to be, that's what you want to do. But you're going to level past it and reforge, and then these will be irrelevant. Okay, so that's why I say you probably want to worry about getting the best things, these last 2, and then you'll see these goldish ones. These are the best ones you can get. You're probably not going to want to try to get those early as a level 45 or 50. You're going to want to try to just get maybe the rare ones, or just stick with a common one to save your ancient script. That's up to you. But then as you go, you're going to be leveling up, right? So then you'll hit the next one, Reforge, and then you can do the level 105 maximum level or minimum level 86, which I think the Reforge is somewhere around there. But I'm going to go ahead and jump all the way to the end. All right. So let's say you're now level 150, right? You've reforged where your item should say item level 530 if you're level 150 when you max it out. And let's go to uncommon. Someone is just like using that stone all over and over, and it's distracting to me. So we're just going to go. There we go. Ta-da. All right, perfect. Much better. We'll just leave a little background music on there. Oh, that's very nice. All right, excuse me. Sorry about that. So now we're at the level 141 Herald. How am I still hearing it? That must be considered one's combat and one's. Yeah, I guess one was combat too. All right. So sorry for being distracted. There's the common ones you need to do, and then there's going to be the rare heraldries, just like before, but now these are the max level ones. They're the same price, but these are the ones you're going to want to be getting for. So early on, what you're going to do is you're going to just get a bunch of purples, probably once you hit max level. That's your goal. As you do dungeons and instances, they're going to drop blue ones, which are the next level up, and they'll also drop these Umbari Tracer tokens, okay? This is what you're going to trade for to get your anything at blue level. If you get a really good one, it'll be the cracked gold Umbari Tracer. That's where you can come trade in for a really good one. But we're going to stick with rare today because that's all I got on this character. All right. So now in theory, I could go ahead and start trading for this, right? So I'm going to go for as a hunter, I want agility, physical mastery rating, and like vitality. That's what I'd be looking for. So if you hover them, they'll explain. So the Heraldry of the Serpent is agility, vitality, and physical mastery rating. Oh, sounds like what I want. But let's go through and look through. This one is might, vitality, and physical mastery rating. This would be good for like a DPS build on a guardian or a champion. They'd want more might than vitality, right? But those are the stats they'd want. This one is a lot of will, vitality, and tactical mastery rating. This would be good for like a minstrel, right? A healing minstrel. Heraldry of the Ox. This one has the same one as the lion, but inverted where there's more vitality. So this would be more for a tank, like a guardian tank, or if you were tanking on a champion, or if you're tanking on a Bjorning, right? This is what maybe a little bit more what you want. There's the heraldry of see here they're called heraldry, by the way. Over here it's called that's why I say it by the way, like I was saying it. So I guess I wasn't wrong at the beginning. I just was saying the thing instead of the look. Moving on. So then you got this one that's vitality, agility, and physical mastery rating. This might be something that more of a warden will want, or if you want to be a tankier burglar, this might be a good one for you. Now I'm going to begin going for a build that's good for a blue line hunter. So to make it a good blue line hunter, I need to be going for the higher agility. Or excuse me. Well, Hunter and Blue Line and Red Line want to do more damage. So I guess if I wanted to be a little tankier, I could go for the one with more vitality, but I don't. I'm going to get this one. So this is the one I would click and I would barter. And then I would place it into this heraldry. I'd probably get 2 of them since, remember, you can copy these ones. And I would put the other one into my bow. Now, before I do that, I have something special, which you will not have unless you bought the Valor boost. I have something that I can open to get a bunch of tracers. So I'm going to use that just to save on this account, because this is not my main account. I don't have stuff to be able to just kind of like nilly-willy use up. But I wanted to be able to explain that in detail for you as a new player. All right. So after you get your heraldry, all right, then you're going to do, you could just go straight in getting your words of craft next. That would probably be the best way. So let me tell you how to critically think about word of craft. All right. So then we're going to click on word of craft. I'm going to go ahead and just jump to the max level ones. All right. That are level 141 up to 150. Okay. Again, if you're level 45, you'll be using the first pages, right? And then they all go through. But I'm going to go ahead and jump to the purple line, or excuse me, that's the blue line. Actually, I feel like for this one, just so you know, I believe there's double pages for the different colors. So there's a gold, 2 gold pages. Yeah, there's 2 blue pages. So keep that in mind. There's a lot more pages on this one. So just make sure you know it's uncommon for the lower yellow looking one. It is rare for the purple ones. It is incomparable, I think is the word it's cut off, for the light blue ones. And then the legendary for the goldish best ones you can get, which you'll get by earning these and doing instances and raids. And sometimes they'll just drop these randomly, which, by the way, you can disenchant stuff as long as you have the Flame of Encalamar. But that's, I have a video on that separate, but that's, you can right click it and you can actually disenchant things for Ancient Script. But be careful doing that. Just wait. If you're setting up characters, don't do that immediately until you really know what you want and don't want. Because you could be very disappointed later otherwise. So, as a hunter, what do I want is my words of craft. There is something very important, if you're max level, to think about between a combo you can do with words of craft between each other and also with your heraldry on both legendary items. Now, I really wish it would let me have both my legendary items up at once to show you this, but I can't. It just flips between them when I bring up this tab. But what I want to tell you is that there are abilities and powers. So I'm going to go to the rare, and if you notice, some of them are just flat stats, right? Like this one gives some physical mastery rating. This one gives some block rating. This one gives critical rating. These are different stats for your characters, right? Evade, parry, tactical, sweet, awesome. But what I want to go to is the second page, page 2 of rare, and I want to look at these. Now, if you notice, these ones have a term at the bottom. So it says, this word of craft can enhance your abilities beyond their normal limits. All right, which means they can actually buff over stat limits. But that's confusing, so I'm not going to go into that for you in this video. But just know it's good. So as you can see how down there it says if you have 2 different set items equipped of the Heraldic, I can't even say that, alacrity, it will actually buff your attack duration. But let's use a different one, some more common. This one, perfect healing. All right, the word of craft can enhance your normal abilities. It says if you have 2 of these, you get plus 3% outgoing healing modifier. This would be great if you're healing on a runekeeper, you're healing on a minstrel. Okay, and if you have 4 of these, it increases your outgoing healing by 9,000. Wow, right? It's pretty good. It's not actually that amazing, but it's pretty good. It's like a few essences. It's pretty good. So you might want to go for combos. Now, again, you could buy 4 of these and put 2 on your bow and 2... That's not a good example for a hunter. If you were a minstrel, okay, you wouldn't want to put outgoing healing on a hunter. They don't heal. That would be waste. Just critical think here, guys. If you're a new player, critical think on that, okay? But let's go ahead and use a different example for the hunter real quick, right? This one, heroic precision, all right? It gives plus 3% crit chance. This is what I'm going to want on my hunter for sure. And then you get 4 of them, you get more crit chance. So you could get 4 of these, you could put 2 of them here and 2 of them on your other one, and then they will go, I'll show you in a minute when I put them on, it'll go bloop bloop, and there's like this little white effect around you, it goes and when you put it on, and that means, or when you equip the weapon, it means it triggered the effect. All right. Now, for endgame, this is a more advanced subject here on the side. Some heraldry can be crafted by certain crafting professions that have a similar power. All right? Meaning that if you wanted to, you could have 2 Word of Craft that give, let's say, you know, for me as a hunter, maybe I'd want the attack, faster attack, which -3 attack duration means I attack faster. All right? Maybe I'd want 2 of these, Word of Craft, and then I would want 2 of the heroic precision, and then if I wanted to get that other 2 for the crit, if you get the right, correct heraldry crafted by a crafter, which is something you can't get here at the place, it will give you one as long as it says the ability is the same ability at the bottom, right? Which is the heroic precision craft. And it'll say it. It'll say what it gives at the bottom. And that will give you the 4 there. So you'll have 4 and 2. So you have an option of 6 options later. But early on as a brand new player, you're only going to have the options of the Word of Craft. So you're only going to have 4 options. So you could do 2 and 2, right? You could do 2 heroic precision, you get 3% crit. And then you could do 2 of these in the other weapon, and you'd get also the 3% reduction, but you wouldn't get the 4 set of the finesse from this one and the crit from that one. So it's a kind of mix and match, all right, there to an extent. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing these, it doesn't matter if your heroic precision is from the legendary tree. So if you have 1 heroic precision from this, and you have 1 rare precision, they will both activate the ability still. Okay? Keep that in mind. So as you're ranking up your character, you can just drop and replace them, and I'll show you that in a few minutes here. So that's pretty much how you need to think, all right, critically. Again, you want to think on what you want as your class, all right? Again, I want the crit stuff. So, but remember that you can have a play effect going between Words of Craft and Heraldric on both legendary weapons, and they can have copies of the exact same one. Now, we need to talk about Word of Power. Word of Power and Word of Mastery. Word of Mastery are your special for your class. Word of Power are usually generic things like increased AoE damage and stuff like that. We're going to look at that right now. These cannot be more than 1 on your 2 legendary items together. So if you have those 2 legendary items equipped, there can only be 1, okay, of the Word of Power and the Word of Mastery. This is so important. I messed this up when I was learning about legendaries the first time and wasted a bunch of my stuff, and it was frustrating, and I really don't want any new players that watch my guides to be frustrated about that too. So when we go into here, you got these filters, and you have the different levels and all the different things. There are a bunch of options. I'm going to jump down to the max level for this video's sake, but you would start at level 50 if you're a brand new player at level 45, right? You'd go to the level 50 ones right at the beginning, and you probably want to look at the rare pages. All right, the 2 rare pages is probably what you'll be looking for. But I'm going to jump to the very end here, and I'm going to look at rare page number 1 and number 2. All right, so we hover through these. I'm going to quickly give you a rundown on what these do. All right, because this is important, and these do specialize. So the first thing you got as an option is area of effect criticals. This increases the crit chance and crit magnitude, which means how big the crit is, okay? Crit chance means if you actually crit, and crit magnitude is, it does more. It's a bigger explosion, okay? It also gives them crit rating. So this is what this one does. Area of effect attack criticals. You can only have 1. And you have to keep in mind, even if that means you have a blue one that says area of effect criticals, you could still only have 1. So ideally, you'd want the blue one to replace the purple one, which if you had a purple one on and you have a blue one in your inventory, you don't have to remove that other one. You can just drag and drop the exact same one on the other one. All right, that's a little fun side thing to know there. Let's go through them really fast. I'm going to rapid fire these so we can get through so this video isn't too long. Area of attack damage. This just increases how much your damage is in the area of effect. Area of effect healing. This increases any heals that hit multiple people on any of the healing classes. Area of effect critical rating. Same thing the crit damage does. A higher chance to crit for AoE heals. Area of effect. If you're a new player, that means multiple targets. Okay. So any healing ability that says it hits more than one person, this will help. All right. Same thing with the damage. Area of effect target count. This helps you hit more targets. I believe this also works with healing. I'm pretty sure area of attack, how many targets you hit with your heals. I'm pretty sure it works the same way. But it works with any like damage ability, right? You hit more targets. As you go up, this does increase. Words of tracers are very, very good when you get better ones, the blue and purple. So for example, the purple version gives you +2 targets to hit. The regular version, I think, is only +1 target. Yep. And then the blue one is +3 and the legendary is +4. So this is one that is good to get higher level over time. But, you know, start with the +2 if you need that, if that's something you need. This one gives you a base morale increase of 4.5%. Very good for anyone who needs HP. If you have a free word of power out of your 5 options, because everyone's going to have 5 options, you're going to have 3 on one and 2 on the other for a word of power. All right. Then you've got block chance. This just increases block chance. It's really not worth it, I think, as a stat, even for most tanks. But it's an option if you want to use it. I think there's better things to use out of these. Overtime damage, any damage that does damage, as in like a bleed or a tick, and does it over time, this will increase that damage. Damage over time criticals, same thing as the other one, just damage over time abilities. Evade chance, increases your evade chance. Healing over time, same thing as damage, but for healers, right? Healing critical over time. You're getting the point, right? I think you guys are probably catching on now. Incoming healing bonus. This means you get more healing if you have it on you. So, could be a good one. Again, probably not an ideal one to take for a damage class, but it's an idea. Probably better for like a tank to have on, maybe. Maybe if they... parry chance. And then they've got these ones called partial block chance, partial block mitigation. These are things that upgrade another stat within your block, parry, and evade. If you hover them, they actually have like extra stat things underneath, like if you partially evade you take less damage, blah blah blah. That's what these are. This increases how higher chance to partially block and to how much damage you take reduced for a partial block. Not really worth it, I don't think, as a thing. So I'd ignore those, but that's how they work. Same thing here. You have the evade one, same too. You have the parry one, same too. All right, you have incoming damage reduction for physical. This is a very good one. Okay, this just flatly reduces your incoming damage. Really good for tanks. My tank has this on. Then you have range extension. There's something really important about range extension that I made a mistake on when I was new to legendary items. If you look at the bottom, it says, note, this tracer only affects skills with a base range of 15 or higher. So if you're a melee with no abilities that are a 15-meter range, this will not do anything. So don't think it will, because I thought it did when I started. It's a little tiny fine note there. So basically, this does increase how far based on the power level, right? If it's an uncommon, rare, like the different levels. But this is really, really good for healers, for damage dealers. It lets you be able to position a little bit farther away. There's a lot of AoE effects in the instance, or even if you're just playing monster play PvP. It's a nice one. This is a really good one to have. So for me as a hunter, it's great for me. I would definitely use it. All of my things are like between 40 meters, blah, blah, blah. But some of my melees are only 4-meter range, so it will not help my melee skills at all. These will not get helped at all by it. But all my ranged archer skills will all get a +9 to them if I use this. So I will use this on the hunter. Ranged healing extension. Excuse me, did I say this one would help your heals range? You have to have this one if you're a healer. Okay? This one increases your healing range. Very helpful in certain fights. Storm Dragon? Yes, it's great. On my Runekeeper, I got this. It was leaps and bounds easier for me to heal everybody when we're all running around from lightning puddles. That's just, you know what I'm talking about if you've played this game a lot. Single target criticals, okay, and single target damage. These are fantastic. For me as a hunter, I'm going to be using both of these. All right? So this is any ability that is a single target, doesn't, and it just, boom, damage. As long as it's not an AoE ability, this will buff it. So, like, for example, my Rain of Arrows has multiple targets. This particular one won't buff it. The other one will. But this one will buff my regular shots. Okay? So, again, those are really good ones. Single target healing. Single target criticals. How high you crit to heal people. Both healing, you notice that they've all have similar, the little hand going on, right? For the healing with the plus. Skill induction speed. -9%. Don't get confused with the negatives thinking it's like a bad thing. It's a positive thing. It means your skill induction is how long it takes for like a lore master or a runekeeper to go, whoa, do the classic Dragon Ball Z, you know what I'm saying, right? You're like charging it up. This reduces how long that takes. So it is good. I don't think it's really necessary as an ability. I think there's better things to take, but it is good. So that's another option. Incoming damage reduction, tactical. This is different than the physical one. This one reduces how much damage you take from magical things. Lightning, fire, acid, poison, light, right? It's not an arrow or a sword. Okay? Skill power cost. This reduces how much skill power cost things cost. Waste of time. Don't use this. No class needs this. If you have basic good gear, you'll be fine with mana. Most classes have some way to sustain mana. It's kind of a waste of an ability. So anyway, that's maybe some people disagree with me, but you can tell me in the comments. But I don't think that's a good one to use. So there we go. So that is all the words of Tracer powers kind of explained. And again, remember with these, you can only have one on your 2 legendary items. So you can basically, for me, since I have 3 on my bow and 2 on my axe, I can pick 5 separately. All right, to have on those. Now let's talk about words of mastery. This is where you're going to need to think about your class. Okay, so this room. You're gonna have to look around for what class you are. You're gonna go, Zollin told me to look for my class. Oh yeah, I'm a hunter. So then you go over to the hunter thing and you can just right click it when you get close enough. Boop. There we go. The little hunter thing comes up. And now we're gonna need to go through this and explain this. All right. I hope you're enjoying yourself. If you are, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know this is a long video. I hope the timestamps I put in helped you out. I just really wanted to go full detail on this. I want this to be my most dedicated. I don't want to miss things. All right. So I'm trying really hard not to. So now with this one, we need to talk about the different trait trees. So remember how I was talking about you need to think about what trait tree you're doing for what bow you're making or whatever legendary item you're making, right? So again, for me as a hunter, I'm right now trying to make a blue bow. Now, if you go into your trait tree real quick, little Gandalf down here, you can see that the hunter tree for the blue is called the Huntsman. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just, it's not, yeah, save the, okay, there we go. I'm going to say I'm specking in the blue line, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to dump these in really quick. So anyway, the reason I'm having it on this page is that look at the top names here, okay? See how we have Huntsman for the hunter, Bowmaster, Trapper of Foes. Those are the things you need to know for this next part. You need to look right now. You can pause the video if you want. Look at yours. And what does yours say? As a, yeah. What does yours say? What class you are? For Guardians, we have like Fighter of Shadow. Now, something you have to keep in mind is some classes have a help tree, basically. All right. And what I mean by a help tree is like it'll cost less points. So when you put points in like you just saw me doing, whatever you spec into will cost 1 point per point you put in. But if you spec other points into another tree, if you notice when I was putting points on the red side, it was taking 2 every single time. All right. There are some classes, for example, the Guardian, which is a very basic, simple one to explain. They have a blue line for tanking and a red line for damage, and their yellow line only costs 1 point no matter which one they're spec'd into of the other 2. It's a help tree. They were reworked like that. A couple other classes were reworked like that as well. Keep that in mind when you're doing this, okay? It doesn't mean that the names at the top don't still matter. So like for the Guardian, it would still matter to know the name at the top because the abilities that are within it will match what the traces are inside the thing, okay? So you got to keep that in mind though and know which ones, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. So now I'm set up as a blue hunter, not that it really matters for this, but you don't have to be in your trait tree while you're doing this. But now what I want you to do is I want you to click on the drop-down menu and look through here. We have the same level things going on, all right? The level 50s for you have general damage, general utility, you have Huntsman, Bowman, Trapper of Foes. What did I say? Oh yeah, look, there it is. Huntsman, Bowman, Trapper of Foes. So whatever class you are, let's pick a random one. Let's say you're a burglar. You got the Gambler, the Quick Knife, the Mischievous Maker, right? The Mischief Maker, excuse me, Mischievous. Runekeeper. You have the Cleansing Flame, Benediction of, I can't read it, I think it's the heal one, and the Solitude of Thunder. right? Let's say the Guardian, right? You have the Defender, Keen Blade, and Fighter of Shadow. I think I said that already. So those are where you're going to find it. Is you're going to open your trait tree, and they'll be right there at the top. All right. But again, I'm setting up for the blue one. So this is where you need to start getting into critical thinking. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go through the all right, so now that you know that, we're going to go ahead and go to the bottom. Now, if you are level 45, you just started, you're obviously going to go to the 50 categories, right, for this. But again, I want to go to the bottom one here, and I'm going to go to the Trapper of Foes, all right, which we double check again. That's the yellow line. So I'm going to start on the Huntsman. All right, because that's my blue line. So I go through the Huntsman here, and you can cover the ability. And again, by the way, look at here it is again. The yellow one is the cheap one. The purple one is the next one up. Then you have the blue one, which costs the blue Umbari Tracer. And then if you get the gold one, you're going to have the really nice cracked Umbari Tracer. All right? Kraken or whatever it is, right? So, man, that one minstrel is really loud. Ah, peace. Oh. What is this person doing? You guys are gonna laugh. I literally had unmuted because I was like, oh, that guy's gone. So I want to be able to hear some sound effects and not have it completely quiet. But and then it came back. All right. Anyway, just doing runestone things over there. So anyway, now we're gonna go through and basically look through. This is where you're gonna have to again critically think. You're probably as a new player gonna want to go for purples, even if you're max level. Build up your purple ones, and then as you do instances, you're going to get a lot of blues dropped, and you're going to start getting a lot of gold dropped, and then you'll get the enhancement runes dropped, like we talked about at the very beginning of the video. So, as we go through here, all right, I'm going to hover things and kind of see what I want, all right? So, barrage damage, this one helps the ability barrage damage. So you can look through and find whatever your barrage damage is. There it is. There's the ability. This will increase this damage by 31.5%. Now I'd like to let you know, and I will show you this in a moment too once I put them all on my character. The lower number will be able to be advanced by increasing the enhancement. The top percent numbers will not. They only advance by the rarity. So for example, the yellow one only 28%. The purple is 31.5% for barrage. The blue one's 35%, and the gold one is 38.5%. So there is quite a big jump between all of them. So having the maximum of 38.5 damage versus having the one that does 28 is almost 11%, right? 10.5% increase in damage. That's real good. So that's why you want to get to the point where your legendary items all have the legendary versions of your tracers on them, okay, for everything, including the heraldries, word of craft, word of power, and word of mastery. All of these tracers, they're all called tracers. All right, so just so we don't get confused on that at any point, everything in here are called your tracers, okay? And I know you're like, oh well, what about the heraldic tracery? But the rest are called words of power. Yeah, but they're all kind of just called tracers. Right? That's kind of what usually a box of tracers is what drops from that reward track, which I'll explain in a moment. So again, as you can go through here, now that you know all this, you go through and you can do that, right? So again, most of them you can figure out by hovering it. It says press onwards, cool down, and heal. Okay, find your press onwards skill. I actually know where that is. Here it is, press onwards. It is a heal, right? That gives you some movement speed, and duration is 10 seconds of movement speed. Gives you a big heal, and it's a 1 minute 30-second cooldown. If I got this to purple, this would make the cooldown 40.5 seconds faster. It makes the heal do 9% more, and also there's another cool stat at the bottom there that says it'll increase my incoming healing rating, which is great. Now there is something to keep in mind with the incoming healing rating. I believe incoming healing rating does help your own self heals. All right, I'm 99.9% sure of that. So it does help your own self-heal. So it's still good to have. And if you are in a combat situation, in an instance or a dungeon, you're fighting really hard, you want your healer to heal you more if you're taking a lot of damage. So it's still a good stat to have. So no matter what, the bottom stat for these particular ones, whatever that bottom stat is, you don't really need to worry about them too much. Just worry about what you're buffing on your abilities for your words of mastery. Okay, you want to care about what abilities you're buffing. If we go through here, you also have Strength of Earth, Morale regen. Now, if you don't know what something is, okay, and again, by the way, they're doing updates all the time on things. I have to look things up too, guys. I know I have thousands and thousands of hours in this game. I make tons of guide videos, but I too have to look things up sometimes. Here's the ability, though. I did know this one. Earthbound, Strength of the Earth. So it says you quickly regen your morale in combat. Again, whatever class you're playing, just hover the ability, and you can find it'll be usually a matched name. That's the best way to know back and forth. You can always check the wonderful LOTRO Wiki. You just do word searches on there. It's great. Again, those will be linked in the description. I always encourage people to use that because it's a great resource. Though I know that having millions of words thrown at you on a page from the internet doesn't always help everybody. So that's why I'm making these videos. So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible with as much detail. So again, that's all you've got for the Hunters one, okay? And again, this one applied on expiration, you get some damage and all this stuff. So what does it do? All right, it says that I get a plus 50% strength of Earth morale, how much it heals, and it gives some flat vitality. Cool. Now, probably not the best one, right? So then what you could do next is you go into the Bowman. Now remember, I'm not in the Bowman, but sometimes you want to check because some abilities might still be on your bar to get a buff from the Bowman. You do not have to only use the words of mastery from whatever tree in the search, okay? You could use any of them. Just you only can have one of each, all right? But let's say you're like, oh, well, I'm traded in Huntsman. Can I even use the Bowmaster? Yes, you can use stuff from this search in the Bowmaster, all right? So if we go to the Bowmaster, like Burn Hot, all right? I still have the skill Burn Hot while I'm traded into this tree. Okay, now granted, I did select it as an option. So let's say if you were a hunter and you had not selected this or gone into red tree and you went into yellow tree for your setup, you wouldn't want to put Burn Hot on your weapon because you don't have Burn Hot. Okay, now do you always get Burn Hot though? Burn Hot skill, yeah, no, you earned the Burn Hot. You do have to have this selected in Bowmaster. So, but for me, I selected it in my setup, right? So I could use Burn Hot as an option. All right, so Burn Hot increases how much damage it does. It buffs. So as you guys all know, Burn Hot is a damage increase for 20 seconds. So you turn it on and then all your damage will be increased by 40%. But if you have this buff on your legendary, you'd increase it to 53.5%. Or if you have the legendary one, it would be 56.5%. It's a big damage increase. So those are the kind of things to think about. Heartseeker damage. You have to have Heartseeker. Now, I did actually put a point in a Heartseeker, so Heartseeker is on my bar. I don't know where it moved it. It kind of moved stuff around. I might not have had enough icons. Oh, no, it's right there in the middle. It's too centered. I couldn't see it. So this will actually increase how much damage Heartseeker does by a lot. If you have the gold one, it's 55%, and it gives some crit. Again, the lower number is not really what you care about with these particular ones. They will matter in game as you're upgrading your tracers, though, but not really right now. So again, you can go through here, Needful Haste. That is your one that gives you back your right here. Excuse me, that's not Needful Haste. Where is it? Yeah, one of these is Needful Haste. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was, for some reason, I thought that was Needful Haste, but I have not played my hunter enough to remember. I gotta organize my skills too. Since I just reset it up, it's all over the place. Oh, I know why Needful Haste isn't here. I probably don't have it selected like I just explained to you guys. So anyway, no worries. I actually think one of those turns into Needful Haste, but we're gonna move on from that. So this increases the duration, Needful Haste duration, how long it lasts. So cool, right? These are the kind of things you want to look at. Rain of Arrows damage. Now I actually put points in to get Rain of Arrows in my red line. So this could be good for me, right, for my blue line setup, just because I'm using Rain of Arrows. Now, if you're using the yellow line with blue line, then you won't want to do that, right? This is how you're going to have to critically think. Upshot damage. Now, that's a good one to have if you have it. But, again, that's what you need to look at. Now, there's always going to be two generic ones. There's going to be general damage and general utility. Let's jump to that. I'm kind of skipping Trapper of Foes, okay? Because I'm not here to explain the Hunter class to you. I'm explaining you how to decide whatever class you're playing, okay? So once you've chosen the ones that you actually are using in your trait trees, whichever one you're in, just remember, you can use, as long as the skill is on your bar, you can use it on your legendary. You don't have to not use red or yellow because you're traded in blue, and vice versa. Just make sure you actually have the skill to use and you have a point in it from your trait tree, because a lot of times you get skills from the trait tree, right, as you put points in. That's why your skills get moved around and I get confused like I just did, because it moved them all around, right? I could move back to my red line and then it would be organized again. See, now it's organized again. So, you know, it's all right there and ready to go. And there's my upshot, right, that I could use. That's what I was looking for. So anyway, keep that all in mind. That's what you want to do. Then you basically have two generic ones, general damage. These are the ones you're probably going to want generally to have. See what I did there? So for example, this one says it increases any focus bow abilities criticals. So that means any ability that uses focus is going to get a 6.5% crit multiplier, and your bow focus skills are going to cost less. So for example, this one right here, improved penetration shot, cost me 3 focus. Now, this is a hunter thing, so I'm not going to go in this too much. But the point is, it'll help that. Those are the kind of things you'll have to know from your class, right? Now, I will make other videos in the future of some direct, generic, what I would recommend for tracers for this class. I'll do little short 5-10 minute videos of that. I think that would be a good thing to add. Let me know if you want that in the comments, just to help you guys out. This one, induction bow damage. This is anything that does have an induction. So for example, improved quick shot has an induction of 1 second. It'll increase its damage. Improved swift bow has an induction. It'll increase its damage. All of these have an induction. If you hover and look in the gray, so they have an induction. It will not increase the damage of penetrating shot, because penetrating shot is instantaneous. It's fast. So is blood arrow. So is rain of arrows. So all of these, right? So what it's going to be helping is things like it'll help Heartseeker damage. It'll help improve shot. So this is a good one to have as a hunter. All right. So then generic damage. You got some precision stance multipliers. You need to think about this for classes that have stances like hunters or champions. You can see here I actually have different stances. So the precision stance gives you some certain things on the hunter. I'm not going to go into the class stuff because that's not the point of this video. But that's what you need to think about. So this will help precision stance critical magnitude. So you have to be in precision stance for this to work. All right, to really start helping you with things. Merciful shot cooldown and critical rating. Cool, that's this one. Reduce how fast I can shoot it more often, and it does more damage with crits. Okay, so those are the kind of things you're going to want to keep in mind as you're looking through this stuff. And then, of course, utility is usually generic stuff. Beneath notice cooldown. I believe that's not my camouflage. It's this one right here. Improved beneath notice. So this makes it a lot faster. This helps you not take aggro. Great ability, because hunters do a lot of damage. Cry of the Hunter. That's this thing right here. This bubble shield and scares things. This will reduce its, this will increase its bubble strength. So that big bubble with the health shield makes it stronger. Things like that. So a lot of stuff that's range, attack, and evade and block chance. All right. So some of these, if you're really confused, I recommend you go and look up their exact name. So if you want to know what range, attack, evade, and block chance is, go to LOTRO Wiki, look it up, and it'll explain it, that ability or thing. And then it'll help you understand for setting up the thing. In the future, I will have more videos on that for you, of course, but keep that all in mind with that. So pretty much we're done. So then you choose all these. You make sure you don't choose 2. You want to only choose 1 of each, because you cannot have any doubles of words of mastery between your 2 legendary items that you have equipped. In fact, for my rune keeper, a lot of times I have to pull off my 2 runestone and my bag and put in my inventory, and then put my other 2 on for the other trait tree, because a lot of times it won't let me just right click and change them out like a regular weapon, because they have the same thing. So if you're having that problem, you're like, why can't I switch the weapon? It's because you physically need to drag them out and then drop, and then you can right click and have your other one slot. Okay, so that's what you need to keep in mind when you're putting them off and on. Just a little side note there. So anyway, with that, my friends, I want some background music. I'm getting a little bit freaked out at this no sound. We're going to go ahead and just turn on a little bit of background music here. Maybe the sound effect guy is gone. Maybe I can do sound effects again. Yes. I want some sound here. Let's see. There we go. We got some sound again. All right. It was freaking me out. It's still freaking me out. That's a meme. So anyway, let's talk about now You've picked all those up, and let's put them on your character now as a new player, okay? So we're gonna actually put them on your bar now. For me, I'm gonna go ahead and open them. I'm not gonna trade them and barter them with the ancient script like I was talking about this whole time. I'm gonna use one of my little tracer openers. So I'm gonna use ultimate level 150 class tracers. I might hang on to this other one for later. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop some of these in my shared storage for later. Oh my goodness, I don't have enough shared storage space. Impossible. Here, I'll just take these off for a second. I'm going to save some of these for later. All right, and I don't need the legendary items right now. I'll open those for another character or for my other set. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click on Ultimate Level Tracers. Whoop! So you notice I just got a bunch of tracers, and they're all purple, so you're all set up here, right? And a lot of them are, I wonder, you know, if I do have to open the other one as well. Oh, you know what? I gotta say this before we go into dropping these on my character. You know what? I think I do need to open the other one. Oh yeah, they were part of the same. I think they were part of the same thing. I do want to recommend that I believe you want to be traded into the trait tree you want it to give you tracers for. Except I think it already does that. So hold on. Let me open this back up. I think it's from the same thing. Ah, yes, it was from the same thing. So it gave me a bunch of other generic stuff. In fact, it gave me 4 heroic precision. It knows what class I am. That's a fun little side note if you are someone who bought a Valor Boost pack. All right. I told you guys that I would lead into this for the Valor Boost video that I talked about. So this is the video to follow that up. Keep in mind with the Valor Boost pack that, again, it knows what class you open the stuff on. So if you open it on your burglar and you want it for your champion, don't do that. Send it, put it in your shared storage, send it over. It's shared. Okay, let the class you're going to do legendaries on open it up for the Valor boosts. That is something as a new player you guys will not need to know. This is just for people who do Valor boosts. All right, so now that we have our 2 weapons, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start with using my bow. All right, and I'm going to start putting on certain things here from that bow. Now, it looks like it did use a bunch of generic stuff here for me, just to kind of start up. So I'll probably go with the stuff it gave me, because a lot of it's pretty generic and helpful. So like quick shot damage. So I'm going to drag and drop quick shot damage on here. You just drag and drop it, and it's going to go, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm going to go, yes. All right, there it is. Now, remember, I told you at the very beginning of the video, wait for me to tell you this. You notice that these, when I hover these, it says these are minimum level 141, where you would have traded them for 150s. It'll save 50 or 45 for you if you're a brand new player. Again, a Valor Boost, you're always going to be level 150 or 140, depending on which one you got. You get the Valor Boost as a bonus for 150 with the new expansions. I think the Legacy of Morgoth gives one. It gives 2 if you do the really expensive one, but you get 1 for the moderate collector's one. And you also get a level 150 Valor Boost from the Umbar expansion. So technically you get 3 for an account right now. Unless they ever sell them later, then that'll change later. But at the time we're making this video. So now here's a little thing for the future. Let's say you get a better one of these, right? Now, I want to show you what happens here. Okay, so let me go back to my hunter thing. Let me get quick shot. Let's see if I can find quick shot quickly. Oh, I see what I did there. Oh, that's such a bad joke. So let's go here, and there it is, quick shot. So let's say right now, I'm going to buy this cheap quick shot, okay? Actually, do I have a cheap quick shot just like waiting for me? That would be awesome. No. All right, I'm just going to buy this one. So if you notice, if I drag and hold this up, you see how it sparkles? Right there, see how it's sparkling? That means it's showing you which one is the same one you already have on your weapon. So for example, let me put one more on. We're going to use Focus Bow Critical Multiplier. I definitely want that. So I'm going to see how they all sparkled there? Boop. So it's showing I can put them on all, but look. When I hold just a quick shot and there's another one on, see how this one isn't sparkling and this one is? It's kind of help you visually see which one's the same. So let's say this wasn't a stupid level uncommon one and it was a blue or a legendary one and I had a purple one on and I wanted to replace it. I could drag and drop and see it's shiny and it say, are you sure you want to destroy the other one and thought this one? No, I do not in this case because this one's weaker. But if I had a better one, I would want to do that. All right. So let me go ahead and finish this up. So Focus Bow. Then Burn Hot damage. I do want Burn Hot damage on there. I'm going to use Burn Hot, such a good ability. Heartseeker damage, I want it on there. I like Heartseeker. Quick Shot, critical chance. That would probably be good. Rain of Arrows damage is also very good. Trap damage, and it's a utility thing. It's good, but range skill modifier. So this one is a very interesting one. Range skill block chance modifier. Basically what this does is it reduces the enemy's chance to block or evade your arrows. I'm 99% sure that's what that does. Again, the LOTRO Wiki is down there in case I'm pretty sure that's what that does. Arrows, excuse me. Quick Shot. Again, I did a lot of planning before I made this video for you guys, but there's still a lot of on-the-go information I have to process in my brain to make sure I'm correctly teaching you. Okay, so now as you can see, notice the funny thing is if you grab a different one that isn't the same as the on here, it will all sparkle, meaning you could replace any of these if you want. It's saying, don't do that. But if you have the same one, look at how only the one sparkles, if it's the same. So that's kind of how you know if you already have it on your legendary weapon. Okay, so now with that set up, I have all of my things in there. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my battle axe. And the one thing I want to not do is drop Quick Shot into this one. Now, I believe if I try to do this while it's equipped, it won't let me. Let me try. See how it says you cannot equip multiple items slotted with the same unique essence. I don't know why they say essence. Word of mastery. But that is a bonus to having it actually equipped, because if I had had the weapon not equipped and I try it, it'll let me, and then if you try to equip them both, it won't. So there is a benefit to having both of the set, since I'm making a blue set, equipped at the same time. All right, just like if I was having this red set over here equipped at the same time. All right, so now let's go ahead and drop trap damage. Sure. I don't know if I want trap damage for my blue set though. Press onward again. I could replace some of these onward. That's a good one to have. We'll do press onward. We'll do this one on the axe. I like to personally use my main damage and direct things on. Why is that person doing fireworks? I can't even believe it. It's like they know I'm recording or something. Maybe they do. So they're just teasing me. Moving on. So induction bow damage. That's insane. I have a legendary induction bow damage. That's going to be good no matter what. So I'm going to put that on here. All right. I'm going to slot that. Actually, you know what? I may not slot that yet because I may put that on my red line one. So we won't worry about that. Here, I'll use this one. This bow induction damage. This purple one. All right. And then this one says distraction shot cooldown. Yeah, why not? I use a distraction shot. And then this one's upshot damage. I'm actually going to use that on my other one. Trap damage. We'll go ahead and drop the trap damage right there. And we're pretty much set. I have one more word of tracer. Make sure you're on the right one. I'm going to go ahead and grab another one I didn't already get. Induction bow crit multiplier. Let's just make sure. I don't think I have that one. Let's see. Induction bow crit multiplier. I do not have induction bow crit multiplier. So I'm going to grab one of those. And I'm going to go back to using my thing. And I'm going to drag and drop induction bow crit multiplier on the last slot, which is right there. I don't know why I didn't go down top from bottom, but that's okay. All right, so now with that set up, we're done. And we managed to keep all of them different, if you notice, across. This is the axe. And again, you can always drag and drag this thing to move it around to make it easier for you to see everything. I really recommend that. And then we'll go ahead and move back over to the bow. And if we look at the bow now, we can see now we only have the other ones, all right? So they gave us a bunch of word of power. They gave us a damage over time, a single target damage, a single target critical, and a damage over time critical. These are all good. I think as a hunter, I don't know about the damage over time. Hunters do have some really good bleeds in one of the trees. So, but not that many. They don't really have really good ones. They might have really good ones with the rework. So take the class comments I'm saying right now with a grain of salt, because remember, you have to think about your class and do not get distracted by Mr. Death there. He's trying to distract you. So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the single target critical onto my, I believe this is my bow. So I'm going to put it there. And then I'm going to put the damage over time. I'm not going to use damage over time. Single target damage I want. And then I think what I'll also put this morale bonus onto this one, because morale bonus is really good. So now the other two I want to get is I want to get the range extension. All right. So I'm going to go into the uncommon rares, like I showed you a few minutes ago. All right. And I'm going to do, I want the induction damage, or I may do area of effect. It depends on what I want to do. Do I want to set it up where my bow is doing damage directly to one target more, or to area of effect? I could set up a different legendary item for area of effect. I'll have to think about that later. Maybe because I'm in blue line, I'll do area of effect and attack range. I think I'm going to do that. Except having area of effect, you kind of want to have the area of effect damage. Which, remember, there is area of effect damage. Make sure you go to the right page. Range extension, single target crits. So I have the single target critical and single target damage. You know what? Actually, there is an area of effect damage. I forgot. So what I'll do is I'll grab the range extension, since I want a range extension as a damage character. Oh no, there it is. There is area of effect damage right here at the top. What am I saying? There is. I already talked about that. Excuse me. Area of effect, single target, and critical multipliers. So I could... I can't do range extension 2. I have range extension. I could just not do area. I could put the area of targets instead of the base morale. The base morale is really good though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get area targets. I'm going to get this and single target. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put the range extension instead of the morale. So it's going to destroy the morale. And then I'm going to bring over here and I want to do area of effect. And I think I'm going to do one or the other. So area of effect damage or area of effect critical multiplier. It's a hard decision. That's a hard decision. I'll probably do area of effect just flat damage. Because no matter what, that will help with crits. Because I'm just doing more damage. But crit multiplier on top of it would be good. So I could think about that later if I want to change that. But there's what I have right now for the words. And if you notice, none of them are copied. They're all separate. They're all different named abilities. I couldn't do range extension on both weapons. I know I already said that, but don't make that mistake. It's a bummer. And now we're gonna do the words of craft. So it gave me 4 heroic precision. Great. If you are a brand new player at level 45, you want to trade in for the level 45 ones over here at the word of craft, just do that. But I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop. And, oh, you have to hear this. Remember I told you that it has an effect? I promised to show you this at the end. So I gotta bring the sound effects back up, just so you can hear the effects. All right, let's just get these organized. So I'm going to drag and drop this on here. All right, I'm going to hover it. You're going to notice, see how it says Word of Craft, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to drag and drop the other one on the bottom one and get ready. I think my imitation sound was okay. So there's the effect. And if you hover it now, you can see I also get a 3% crit chance, as well as those base stats. Now, for me right now, I could buy the other ones to get the attack. A lot of times people won't do the 4-set bonus. They'll just do the second set bonus, because the second set bonus is what's really powerful with the 3% crit. So I could do buy the other one that reduces how fat, or let's see, it's the second page, right? We were looking at this one reduces how I attack faster. But if you chain your autos and attacks the right way for a hunter or for a lot of the DPS class, you don't necessarily need to have this. This isn't really the best stat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just go to the other weapon, and I'm going to drop on all of these words of craft. Boop. And boop. And the effect happened again because we have 4 sets. Now if I take this off, by the way, if I take these off, you'll notice this effect happens every time I trigger those abilities. All right. So you can see down here, I've got all 4 of them. So there's the whole set. And to finish up, I'll do the Heraldries, or the Herald, whatever they're called. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't give me... You know, I think I had to actually open the legendary box. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to waste my ancient script. You would go and buy yours right here. All right? Doing legendaries normally. Like I already explained at the beginning, we talked all about that. But I'm going to open my legendary box here. And nope, that just gives legendary weapons. But I actually am going to need my horse legendary item. But that's pretty simple. You don't have to do anything with that. You just equip it for your horse. That's it. So that, I guess they didn't give me one. That's all right. Oh, you know what? I have some ready to go. I did not realize I already had some down here from my other thing. Oh, and by the way, there's the purple one. Remember the very beginning I was explaining the purple enhancements? So we're going to talk, we'll finish up here with enhancing some of them so I could show you I have all 4 colors ready to go. I forgot. Oh, and I have a bunch down here. I should have looked at these too. That's okay. I'll use these on my other legendaries later. You already know how to do everything, so that's good. So I have these heraldries. So these ones are Heraldry of the Sparrow. They give me a lot more vitality and less in the agility area. You know, I think I'm actually just going to use these because I'd rather have a little bit more vitality than agility on this particular blue build. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop. And again, you notice how it goes from the minimum 45 up to 500. That's because these legendary items are already set up. That's why I say it's irrelevant to buy the enhancement runes that aren't already the max level, which are the 141 max level ones, to use those as you're going up. It's really irrelevant because the moment you drop a new tracer of any of these 4 types, they automatically pop you up to 500. All right, when you've reforged a weapon. So that's why it's not really relevant and stuff. And it doesn't matter which ones of these, you can do the exact same ones across both weapons. So there we go. We are set up. We are all good to go. And our weapons we're ready for battle. All right. Now, what you're going to start doing over time is you're going to want to start upgrading these levels on the right side. Which ones should you do first is kind of what stat do you want? They do not increase the percent stats. Only getting the better upgraded versions. You know, then again, there's uncommon, rare, and then there's the beautiful blue ones. I keep forgetting their term. They call them. The, yes. Where are you, word? Anyway, and then you've got the legendary ones, right? I don't know why I can't see the, I'm missing it, but it's there somewhere. So that's the legendary one again, and, the blue ones, right? So again, rare. Oh, I remember where I could see it. The drop down. Except it doesn't show it on this one. That's why I can't see him. You have to look on this one. I forgot. Oh, incomparable. That's what the blue ones are called. Incomparable. I don't like that one as much. The other ones make more sense. Uncommon, rare, incomparable, and legendary. All right. Those are the different levels. That's the only way you can increase the percents on these. But now let's explain how to level these up. So let's go ahead and start with the top one here. The nice thing about the heraldry one is that it increases all the stats you see. The other ones only increase the bottom stats, not the percents, or like the area of targets does not increase. So it does increase these physical ones. Let me show you. Let me drop one. All right. So this is, I don't want to get ahead of myself. There are 16 in this pile. I'm going to drag and drop on any of them here on the left. Same way you do it. It doesn't replace. These are enhancements. Okay. So drag and drop. Do you want to use your rune of +1 level to enhance? Yes. Then it goes, oh, you had 16 of them. How many do you want to use? I'm only going to use 1 right now. So I'm just going to leave it on 1 and say, okay. You're going to notice it's going to go from 500 to 501. And on the max is 530. And then you're going to see these stats slightly go up here on the left. Ready? Boop. Do you see how they went up by just a little bit and we're up 1 level? That's what that does. All right. Let me show you, for example, on the percent one. You will notice when I use 1, these 2 stats will go up. The percent will not. You see that? All right. It's as simple as that. So again, you want to probably start with maxing out the heraldries because it gives you the most base stats. Then go through and decide what of the other stats you want. The bottom ones give nice big chunks of stats. Now, for example, let me use a purple one. Like I told you, it gives 2. But I have 6 of them, but I'm only use 1. Boop. See, the crit went up and it went up by 2. Keep in mind, if you are, let's say, 2 from the top, and you drop on an enhancement rune that gives +4 levels, and you use it, it is going to waste 2 levels. So use your lower levels first, right? So for example, let's just try to finish up this Heraldry. So I'm going to drop on these 2 high-level enhancements. These will give 4 levels. So if I use 2 of them, it's going to give 8. Boop, there we go. You saw I went up to 509. Now let's go ahead and drop this one here. I have quite a few of these. I have 6 of them, 3 times 6. All right, so I'm actually going to only use 5 because if you notice, I'm really close to the top now. I'm going to use the example here, okay? So then I could use the last, I could use 3 more. All right, I'm 3 away, so now I wouldn't want to use a 4 because I would lose one, right? So, but I'm going to use one of these, but here's the problem. These are 2 each, right? So if I use 2 of them, what happens? We only need 3 slots. If I use 2 of them, sure, it'll put 4 points in and I'll lose 1 point. So I'm only going to use 1. It's going to get up to 29, and then I'm going to drag and drop and use 1 enhancement rune. Boop. Max level. Okay, so keep that in mind just when you're using the enhancements. Don't waste your enhancements. So that's about it, my friends. That is how you kind of set up a legendary item. And again, you might want to have several legendary items per class, depending on what you want to set up for each tree. The Runekeeper especially, I have a Fire Rune Stone and bag, I have a Lightning Rune Stone and bag, and I have a the Healing Rune Stone and bag. I actually have a legendary item video where I think I did set up the Runekeeper. I have a couple in the past, but this is the most comprehensive and newest video. So, at least of the early 2025 here. Well, not early, mid. So anyway, I hope this helped you guys out. And we did it. We are set up with legendary items. I don't think there's anything else in this video that I want to cover for you guys right now. We've done a lot. This is a little bit over almost an hour and a half. And I hope that this does help you guys out. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know that my brain has gotten a good exercise in this. Whew! Thank you to Reb and Elrondor for being royal guardians, and all of my other Patreons. And you guys for liking and subscribing and watching this video. I really hope that this does help. This is the video I'm going to send to people to get legendary items set up. No matter if you're brand new, refreshed, or have a Valor boost, or whatever, this will help you all in all those ways. And hopefully this helped you to learn to critically think when setting up any class of legendary items. That is the goal. I'm your hosting guide, Zollin Ironshield, as always, at your service and your families. And Baruch Hazard, Kuzar, I'm in you. Stay happy, my friends, and I'll see you in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. See you soon.